Dom here from Essential RC for another quick product test. Thanks for tuning in. What I have here in my hands is a new transmitter from my friends at Dynam. We've reviewed quite a few radio controlled model airplanes and jets from Dynam over the years, and they've obviously started getting into transmitters with this new DETRUM sub-brand. So this is the Gavin 8C, an 8-channel radio. Let's look at its features. So looking quickly on the CML website here, it tells us about the features of this transmitter. So picking out the key things here, long distance remote control uses direct sequence spread spectrum and multiple frequency hopping spread spectrum, FHSS, which is pretty common on all transmitters now, regardless of the protocol they use and the manufacturer that produces them. The range is the important thing, so we get a kilometre of range on the ground and 1600 meters in the air, which is pretty good. The LCD display is high resolution at 192 by 96, goes into the binding, which is a very common fail-safe function, low voltage alarm, USB upgrades, so if new firmware comes out then you can upgrade pretty quickly. It comes with this SR86A H-channel sport receiver. Looking at the features of that, the most interesting thing with this receiver is it supports 4 flight modes: gyro off, normal, aerobatic and auto recovery. Which is so makes the auto recovery especially makes it great for beginners. Flick a switch and it will just make your plane level again, and then you've got stabilization in normal and aerobatic as well, which is really good. And you can adjust the gains, set the gain and other programmable items with the matched transmitter. So what I'm going to do, this does come with a manual obviously, but what I'm inclined to do is to try and get this transmitter and receiver working with an airplane, just to see how, without using this. I mean, who reads a manual? You don't read this manual when you get a transmitter for the first time. What we need to do is actually try it and see how easy, how intuitive it is to set up a radio control model airplane. So that's what I'm going to do now, and my victim is this Zode Dart XL Extreme over here. So I'll be back in a few minutes and report back on how easy it was to set this up with the DETRUM Gavin 8C. Okay, so here I am 10 minutes later, literally 10 minutes later, and it was pretty straightforward, I have to say. I did have to look in the manual once. I turned on the transmitter and I set up Model 1, changed the name to Dart XL. That's the first thing I do. Then the next thing I needed to do was to bind the transmitter to the receiver. Didn't know how to do that, so I did have to look in the manual. And that was as simple as turning on, plugging in the flight battery, and then holding down the bind button so it goes into bind mode for 2 seconds, and then turning on the transmitter while holding this switch, momentary two position switch like that, and it goes into bind mode, takes a few seconds to bind. Job done. The rest of it really, really intuitive. Now the slight complexity with this is that this model has elevons, so required some degree of mixing in the transmitter. That was really easy to select. I had to reverse the channels, easy to do. I also set up 3 position rates, so you've got 4, I think, 3 position switches. So on SA here I set up 3 position rates for the elevator pitch, easily done, with 30% expo on each, and then on roll I used this switch, and again 3 positions at 100%, 66% and 33%, with 30% expo on all of those. Really easy to do. The gyro in the receiver put that on those modes on this. So it goes from no gyro to the two other modes, one being, I think, aerobatic or sport, I think they called it, and then the third one for recovery, where it will just snap you back to level flight. Did that. So all really simple, and took me 10 minutes. I'm not used to this radio at all. I use a different brand of radio, but it was fairly intuitive, which is what you want for a beginner, because no beginner wants to go through 50 pages of the manual. So other things to point out, ergonomically, you know, it's a good firm radio. It's got ergonomics are pretty good, I would say. It's got hand grips behind it, so molds to your hand. Inside, you need to buy 4 AA's if you're going to go that route. You can power it with a 2-cell lithium polymer battery, but if you do that, if you convert it to that, then there is a setting in here that you need to change. But otherwise, there are lots of features of this transmitter that I have not used on this model that I probably would use on other models with landing gear, with flaps, and all of those complexities. But not for this one. It was really simple to set up. So yeah, it's a good basic entry-level radio if you need 8 channels. So look it up. The link is in the video description and the pinned comment. It's the DETRUM GAVIN 8C transmitter. So I'm Dom from Essential RC. Thanks for watching this product test of this from Dynam, and we'll see you soon for the next one. Take care.